Join Gator great Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a Monday edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, right there in Celebration Point. Go check them out, folks. International Diamond Center. Today's program, we'll have JC, then we'll have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. We'll get his thoughts on the Denzel Aberdeen not being eligible. All he has to do is probably file a lawsuit. He'll be good to go. JC, you're on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We got a lot to talk about today. By the way, JC, you just don't roll in to Gainesville as the reigning national champs. Gas kicked. The Lady Knowles went down yesterday.
I saw that.
Champs. So congratulations,
Coach Zimmerman.
Coach Zimmerman.
The Z.
That's the first time we've scored, I think, on those gals in like 5 years. So
you almost said
for them.
That was great. It was a stunner. You know, FSU's number 3 in the country, and the defending national champions, as you said, 3-1. It's their first win ever. I'm reading Edgar Thompson, the great Edgar Thompson, first win over the Seminoles in women's soccer since 2015. QB.
That's a long time.
God, 11 years. So I think it's wonderful, and that is something that I think will catch on pretty quickly if this team is any good. It's, obviously, they are, because soccer's popular. I think the young ladies that play soccer and girls out there that want to play soccer, you know, at the University of Florida is a factor in that sport. I think it's all very positive. So I'm happy for Coach Zimmerman. Nick Zimmerman, baby. Nick Zimmerman. That's his name. Remember him. And, you know, Kiwi, let me tell you, since we're talking about coaches, Lane Kiffin is quickly becoming the biggest villain in college football. I am telling you, it's bad enough to dump a team right before the playoffs and then poach the players and all this. This guy is trying to get Daquan Wright to play.
They're going to get him.
I know it. And, you know, if this happens, and I swear to God, if this happens, Greg Sankey has about as much credibility as a frog. I mean, you can't let this happen. He has said, as the commissioner, this is not right. And if he lets this happen, and Drew Rosenhaus and Kyle Lincoln get what they want, Daquan Wright is going to be playing for LSU after playing for the Browns. Get out of here.
So didn't Sankey come out with the dude that played basketball for your school, Bediako? Didn't they?
Yeah.
Didn't I say you ain't playing? Look.
Yeah.
Here's what I'd like to say about that.
Charles Bediako.
Yeah. Here's the problem, JC, and I don't know if I talked to you or somebody else on this program. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
There's only about 1% of the human beings that play college football that are going to play professionally and do it for a living. And that may last 1 year. It may last 3 years. It may last 10. You have no idea. The amount of money these kids are making in college with no expenses, no bills, it's ridiculous. So these guys know, especially if you're a late round draft pick or a free agent, your chances of making the roster are very, very slim. You may get thrown on the practice squad. Now, when I played, there was only 6 dudes on the practice squad making $3,000 a week. Now there's up to 20, I think, and they're making about 14 grand a week.
Wow.
But still, and back in my day, you had to either be a rookie or a first-year player, meaning been in the league for a year. Now you can be a 15-year vet and be on the practice squad. So it takes spots away from young guys that you're trying to develop or whatever. This nonsense about a guy signing a contract, not just a guy, but
it's nonsense.
Signing a professional contract, which means absolutely nothing in football until you make the roster. For them to be able to go back, and not even go back to your school that you played for, but just pick and choose where you want to go,
wherever.
Is total nonsense.
It's nonsense.
It is the most ridiculous thing. While we're on that subject, JC, tell me how ridiculous this is.
Okay.
Max Johnson and TJ Finley. Remember those two guys?
Yep, quarterbacks. Yeah,
Okay, well, Max Johnson is going to be the starter at Georgia Southern this year. But listen to this. They both were in the same signing class for the LSU Tigers in 2019, the first QB recruits after Joe Burrow.
yeah.
They have combined to play for 10 different schools. And now, as I said, Max Johnson will be starting in his 7th college season for the Eagles of Georgia Southern. I don't get it.
What?
I
It's just
just don't
lawless.
understand.
This
When's it
is the
going to
Middle
end?
East. It's lawless. It can only, these agents are really getting involved and threatening lawsuits and this and that. And I'll tell you, the lawyers, they ruin everything, don't they? But honestly, I think this thing with Daquan Wright just he has to put an end to it. As the commissioner of this league, I am calling on him to basically say, if you want to have any credibility as an authority for young college athletes, you cannot allow professionals to come back just because it feels good. Daquan Wright was with the Browns. If he clears waivers, you're telling me that. So is LSU now in the NFC South? Is LSU in the AFC South? Who the hell is LSU? That's a college little school in Baton Rouge. Why are they getting pro players now? This is nonsense. It's complete. It's
And you
gone
know
off
what's
the
even more
rails, QB.
nonsense,
It's
JC?
like the WNBA. It's complete nonsense.
High school football is worse than any of them. What
Why's that?
happened to the days when you grow up with the guys in your neighborhood and you go to
Oh
the
yeah,
school you're supposed to go to? You don't you
right.
don't
Yeah,
you don't hop in the
yeah,
car
yeah.
and drive across town to
Yes.
go to a school because they're the better program or
Yeah.
you have buddies there. Or you get in the car and you drive 35 to 40 miles
What
to
have
go
we
to the
done? I
school.
mean, what have the grown-ups done? Why are the grown-ups letting this happen? Why aren't the grown-ups learning the word no? What is happening? Why are these kids running the asylum? You got
Well, like I
children.
said, I just
It's
I love Friday Night Lights. When I used to
yeah,
coach, my kid played all that stuff. I
right.
absolutely despise it now because
Yeah.
when I'm bored looking at Twitter and they're talking about this team or that team, well, 10 of those guys are supposed to be playing at a school 2 hours away, or
2 hour.
you know,
Right.
you're just building it's anyway, we could have 10 shows on this. It will never change, but it's I don't
Well,
when they talk about that's a powerhouse, that ain't a damn powerhouse. That is a team that has recruited and there's no rules to
right.
whatever high school you want to go to. As long as
Complete.
mom and dad and you have a vehicle to get there, you can play for them.
It's
So,
lawless. It's lawlessness. It's lawlessness. When I lived in Northwest Gainesville, I went to Buholtz. The kids over there in the Northeast went to East Side. The kids over there, kind of in the middle of it all, went to GHS.
yeah. So JC, John, I wanted to bring this up and I'm glad he brought it up. The number one player in high school football,
Yeah.
the number one overall recruit. Do you know where he lives, JC? What state?
I thought you said Georgia. Was it not Georgia?
I didn't say anything. I'm just now bringing this up.
I know. Well, okay.
The number one football player out of high school, according to all the
Oh,
publications,
Tennessee.
is no, that was the running back. He was the number two running back in America. I'm talking about the number one overall player at all
Okay, tell me.
positions,
Tell me.
state of Texas.
Okay.
He is transferring right now after football has started to Buford, Georgia to play.
Well, why? Why is that? Why is that?
Buford does get a lot of transfers. It's an excellent school. They're
You
always
sell-
good in football, but when
Yeah.
you get transfers, you're going to be good. So don't
Oh,
ever tell
boy.
me about this is a great high school program that the coach
Yeah.
coaches them up, blah, blah. No.
No, Mike Pittmans of the world do not exist anymore. It's just a business, man. And I didn't know we ever really wanted it to be business. We wanted it to be athletics and learning and education, and it's becoming freaking business. It's very questionable. And people who are in leadership positions allowing this to happen are the ones I blame, not the kids. I blame the grown-ups. Kids learn
Yeah.
from their grown-ups. Grown-ups make the rules. Kids just go by what the grown-ups say, and the grown-ups are letting it happen. There's a bunch of idiots who are grown-ups and who are having kids, and that's a problem. They're screwed up mentally, and they've got all these crazy allowances now and rules. Or lack of rules, And I think it's a shame. It's a shame. It's ruining the learning experience. You talked about the learning experience. What are kids actually learning and getting out of this
They're getting
last week?
nothing. And
Hardly anything.
I talk about it every time I go speak at people, and I've always been in the minority. JC, you remember when I had to
Well,
speak
I'm in there
tonight
with
in
you.
Ocala and at Golden Ocala, and I told him, I said, I have been one that hated the NIL when it came into existence. People were like, you're jealous because you didn't get paid. No, 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 no. That has nothing to do with it because it's not about name, image, and likeness. It is
Yeah.
pay for play.
It is pay for play, and it's turned the problem is that I understand labor has a right to some sort of compensation, but they have let this go because the Supreme Court voted 9-0 and they didn't know how to handle it, they being the grown-ups in the room, and they have lost their way, and they're just allowing the lawyers to run the ship. And it's going, if you ask me, Daquan Wright comes back to play for LSU, we're circling the drain, bro,
Oh
in
my
this sport.
gosh. That is
We're
just
circling the drain in this sport. That is
here's
ridiculous.
the
Greg
other
Sankey
issue I
better
have.
get up off his ass and do something
Well,
about it.
here's the other thing. If I was a coach in that position, let's use if I coached LSU and Daquan Wright's supposed to come back. I have already not so-called promised somebody, but I've had somebody that's been at spring football practice all summer
Yeah.
long, battling
Yeah.
to be that whatever tight end position. And now you just bring anyway.
Yeah.
Let's get to some Facebook Lives here. Karen says on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law, what about Jack Pyburn? Plays at Tampa now, wants to come back and play at LSU. I don't know if LSU wants him. I think Jack realizes he ain't going to make the roster. So when you don't make the roster, that means you were making $0 when you can go back to college and make money.
Yeah.
I got a text here from Jimmy wanting to know about the scrimmage. We'll talk with Kevin Brockway. I was not there. I talked to two buddies of mine, former players that were there. They told me Aaron Follow looked really good. The defense
Good.
got kind of shredded.
The defense, what? What'd you
Ran
say?
the ball down their throat.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So that's a good thing, but then
Yeah.
our defense sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's only 2 weeks away. So or less than that now. And next week is game week. So let's see here. Michael Schneider, Sankey won't do anything. I agree. He probably won't. He'll probably cave. And I would love to just focus on what's going to happen on the field, but these news headlines are just taking me down. The drain with them. It's just taking me down. I'd rather just focus on, hey man, Georgia's got all these guys coming back. How are you going to attack the Bulldog? How are you going to beat them? All this kind of stuff. I'd rather talk about that, but hopefully we will soon, and I think we will.
Kanye Ron on YouTube brought by Paulie Plum says college sports can't figure out what a pro is, and the WNBA hasn't figured out what a woman is.
What a woman is. Enes Kanter was kicked out of a game in Chicago last night because he got into some sort of verbal altercation with one of the players on the court. And I don't know who started it or how it happened. I just saw him stand there with his arms wide open, and they escorted him out, and everybody in the stadium booed. So now we've got people with mental disorders that are on the court, and now everybody going to these games are psychotic. So I'm staying as far away from that as possible. It's not enjoyable. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
I think the leadership about Enes Kanter
sucks too, by the way.
Did Enes Kanter add the word freedom to the end of his name?
Yeah, I think he did. I think he did. Yeah, because he was the guy that spoke up against China. He got on LeBron's ass about China, because China owns LeBron, right? And China pretty much owns the NBA. And so, and that slivering Adam Silver, whatever his name. And, Enes Kanter said, you're supporting China and you're over here killing the police, and you basically are being run by Chinese dictators that are paying you money. You sold your soul to China, LeBron, and he did. And that's what Enes Kanter is about. And guess what? They kicked him out of the league. They kicked him out. Or either that or he just wasn't good enough to keep playing, but he played for 11 years, so he was good at something. He must have been pretty good. But this embarrassment of a league, the WNBA, they don't know what to do about that. They just have no idea what to do about that. But hopefully it'll be over soon. I really couldn't care less when it's over. I'm not watching.
Yeah.
So
Art asked on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law, Shane, what is going on with the HBC? Looks like he's in so much pain standing up. Okay. I don't think he is. His body's been through. You got to remember, he's 81 years old.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. But he's always
let's
been,
hope we're alive at 81. And I can promise you, I won't be moving around any better than Coach if I'm at 81. I don't think people
yeah.
realize what when you play three sports in high school and you do it professionally for a long time, your body ain't going to work real well.
He stayed hey, listen, he has stayed physically active even after sports was done. He's always on a bike. He was always doing something. His wife walks 8 miles a day. You know, Jerry,
Yeah,
God
they're
bless
both
her.
very, very
They're
active,
very
but you got to
physically active.
remember they're 81 years old.
That's right.
It's going to be hard to get around.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, it is. But man, he's still got all that hair on his head. I'll tell you, he looks good to me.
Gold and silver investors find out what makes Gator-owned money metals different from other coin companies that often resort to high-pressure sales tactics. Not at Money Metals. For more information, visit moneymetals.com. Give them a call at 800-800-1865. A couple of texts here. Just want to give a shout out here. I think this is Freddie about the great Florida Legends event they had. It was an
Yeah,
amazing night. The card show was very successful.
cool.
Congratulations.
Made some money. Raised
JC,
money.
let's talk about the results of the BMW Championship. You picked the winner.
I
Congratulations to
did.
you.
Yeah.
Uh, I was pulling, like yesterday when I was watching, I was pulling for Gary Woodland just because
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
story.
Easy guy to root
He's
for.
one
Yeah.
shot back with about 4 holes to play, and then he tops his tee ball into the creek. It was
I
great.
laughed. I fell down and just started cracking up because we've all done it. And even the best in the world are capable of pulling that off. That was, he just stood there and looked at like, what just happened? I hit a ball 60 yards off the tee. Right, he hit a Warburger. Gary Woodland, he's a great player, one of the best in the world, and his story is fantastic. If you're not up to date on it, read it up on it. It's a great story. Wyndham Clark was, starting off really slow in that final round. He shot 70 yesterday, but he was 3 over, I think, on the front nine, and he had a 5-stroke lead going in. It evaporated basically. He was tied. You got Rory coming up your heels there, and Woodland and listen, it was a very tense final round. But Wyndham Clark, when you win 2 U.S. Opens, you have the guts, the fortitude to hang in there, and he hung in there. Made a big shot on a big putt, I think it was on 16 or on the back nine, and just held on to win. He's having a great year. That's 2 wins for
He
him
should be
now.
the player of the year, in my opinion.
It's either him or Scheffler. Who else?
Yeah,
could it
but
be?
here's the thing: Scotty's only won twice. He's got a bunch of top tens or whatever.
Yeah,
Wyndham now has 3 wins,
and a U.S.
a
Open.
major,
Mhm.
and some other top 10. I thought when they put the graphic up of all the people up for the player of the year before he won the tournament, I thought Matt Fitzpatrick, because he has 3 wins and he has a bunch of top tens. And then once Wyndham won yesterday, I think it's a lot.
I think you're right. And I love the guy. I'm a fan of his. He overcame some addiction issues and some mental stress. He's hired a coach, a mentalist type of coach to get him right. He fought through his adversity. He's won 2 U.S. Opens. You know, he's a winner in my book. He is a winner. I'm a big fan. I really like Wyndham Clark. So,
Adam, real quick, JC, Adam
yeah.
says in Facebook Live brought to you by Mel, I wonder how much NIL money the Gators spend versus LSU. Probably no comparison if LSU has a $50 million roster. Remember that thing I sent you, how LSU is selling, did you read it?
They're selling
The
10%.
They're selling media rights.
10% of their media rights for $100 million or whatever that is to some private equity. It's amazing. I think that's right. Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
That is extraordinary. And this guy spent a hell of a lot of money. This guy, meaning, I think his name was Scott Woodward. Is that the AD? But he spent.
I don't think he's there anymore.
Okay, maybe it's not him. But you're right. Because when Brian Kelly left, I think he was on the train out of town with Brian Kelly. But whoever it is decided to go all in on football in Lane Kiffin and damn the torpedoes. Off he goes. And to get that kind of financing deal by selling your media rights, I didn't know they had 10% of their media rights to sell. I thought the TV networks own that. You know, ESPN owns their media
Well,
rights.
they could be talking about like it could be radio, I guess.
God, that's a lot of money for radio. For God's
Well,
sakes, it's just the
I don't
state of
know. I'm not
Louisiana.
educated enough to understand it
I'm
all.
not either, and that's why I don't understand how they had anything to sell when the networks own the media rights, or the league does. But or the network's paying for it, and the SEC owns the media rights. Is that right? Is that how it works? Okay, whoever it is, they still had something to sell private equity. I don't understand it. So I should have read more about it, but I did see it, and I tell you, man, that's a lot of damn money to fund everything. $100 million, if that's true, if it's true, you know.
Yeah, Tony says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Law. Uh, Actually, it's not Facebook, it's YouTube. But private equity sounds like a bad idea for college sports, but LSU will
Yeah.
do anything.
They're the villains now, and Lane Kiffin is the bad guy. He's the one with the black hat he's the bad guy. LSU, Louisiana State, Clemson is coming to town. QB is
Can
Clemson.
you imagine if they go 9-3 or 8-4 this year? You know, a lot of the so-called experts, if you look at all the preseason record predictions, have LSU fifth in the league,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
around there.
Well,
So,
they've got pretty decent odds. If you want to take a flyer on LSU, I'm trying to pull them up. I'd like to see. They got Clemson to open the season, and I think that's right. They've got on September 5th at home against Clemson, and then La Tech, and then it's off to Mississippi for that game on September 19th. You'll be in Auburn that day, and I have a feeling they're going to put both those games on at the same time. It's too bad.
no.
No. No.
We are the night. We're either the night game and they're the 3:30 game, or vice versa. I can't remember.
So they're not.
I think
Florida's
we're the
not
night
playing.
game. They're the 3:30 game, and we're the night game.
I think the 3:30 game is Alabama and Florida State.
Somebody will let us know here.
I think LSU and Florida are playing different teams at the same time. Florida's going to play at 7.
I don't think they are, because I remember I said I could get to the stadium early and watch the game. So
Okay.
one of our great listeners.
I hope you're right.
The Auburn game is. Tell me what time the LSU Ole Miss game is.
Well, I know Auburn. You guys are going to kick off at 7. I think it's a night
well,
game.
then that game is before us. Because I remember when it came out, I was hoping it would not be at the same time, and I am pretty sure
you are.
that it's going to be early. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take the early bus.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's. I mean, I have no reason not to believe you. I just hope you're right.
Never mind. John says we're both playing the night game.
I thought so. Yeah, because Alabama's playing.
Why did I say I was going to go on the early bus?
Well, maybe you wanted to watch FSU get destroyed in Tuscaloosa. Who knows? Isn't that just a shame, really? You know, I mean, Florida and Auburn should always be a primetime event, but I guess, you know, with recent years, it's just kind of slipped a little bit in terms of the rivalry. They haven't even played, but LSU and Ole Miss is must-see TV when Lane Kiffin shows up in Oxford, and those guys are going to go nuts. He's going to need an armored car. Oh boy, that September 19th is going to be just madness. And I'll tell you, that's a great day. I'll be back, and I'll be excited to see that. My goodness. Miami plays at Wake Forest that Friday night. Why are they playing on Friday night? Houston plays Texas Tech on Friday night. It's another really good game on the Big 12 that weekend. I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves here, I know, but that's Florida State, Alabama at 3:30, Florida, Auburn at 7, and the LSU Tigers and Ole Miss start at 7:30. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, we start at 7. They're at 7:30.
6 o'clock Central Time, 7 Eastern. Mississippi will be at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern. Alabama will be at 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern. And that's a big triple header.
James from Chattanooga on the Tightening More text line. Of course, we get these once a day, right, JC? What's the question?
Quarterback. Who's going to start at quarterback?
Jane, who do you think will be the starting quarterback? I've said it multiple times. I think it'll be Aaron Philo.
You know, a lot of times we have new viewers because they just hear how popular you are and they must see your show. And sometimes they just tune in and missed a couple of shows in the past. Just always remember that this show, Win with JC, everything we do is archived. You can always go back, but it's always fun to have the live shot. So that's what we do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I come in on Thursday at 8:30. So, Yeah, listen, man, that's going to be a great day, September 19th. It's all going to be great. September 5th, it starts, though. LSU and Clemson, big day. Here's the thing. Ole Miss comes to Florida after that game. That's going to be a letdown. LSU has to play Texas A&M. Watch out for that. Watch out for Texas A&M that day. That would be a team you might want to jump on against LSU after that emotional experience they'll have up in Oxford. And listen, Mississippi has to come play the Gators after that. So that's just something to look at the schedule when you're kind of figuring out how many wins and losses, if you can, because it's really hard to get up those two types, for two games like that in successive weeks. I would think. I don't know, maybe not, but LSU and Ole Miss is going to be a must-see game. You'll have to just record it on your YouTube TV, QB, back at the house. Just record that.
We'll probably have it on in the box because they got TVs everywhere. Well, I don't know about it all, but most places do. This text on the Titan Bar text line, Kevin asked, curious if you guys saw the Texas craziness. I think you're referring to apparently they released or kicked off the team one of their, I think it's a starting star linebacker. But then I
Really?
read somewhere where some parent was raising hell about something. But listen,
Yeah,
I don't buy anything I read, and I don't trust anything because in today's world, parents are just as bad as their kids. They get their feelings hurt about something,
that's right.
right? There's
That's right.
nobody can handle adversity in the world
No,
now.
they don't like it. Yep, you're right. No, and
Because all you got to
that's
do is sue somebody, pack your
that's it.
crap up, and go to another school.
And we're killing these kids because we're not putting them through the ringers like they need to learn, and we're just giving them what they want, and that's just wrong. That's wrong. Parents have, like I said at the beginning of the show, if you missed it, the grown-ups, in my mind, I always blame the grown-ups instead of the kids. The kids learn from their parents. They learn from the grown-ups. They don't know anything. Kids don't know anything. Grown-ups and parents are in charge or should be. But it seems like these days the inmates are running the asylum,
Yeah.
meaning the youngsters. And the parents are weak and they need to get up off their butts and be a parent. And sometimes that means saying no. Or sometimes that just means, we're not going to do it this way. If it's right or it's wrong, it doesn't matter. In this house, it's not how we do things. And I guess that's just going out the window figuratively.
Yeah.
So,
John says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello. Hopefully, QB stayed off Twitter after scrimmage. It got crazy. I read all that stuff. I don't know how it pops up because I don't follow a whole lot of people.
well,
But
who's tweeting if you're not allowed to go to
they worry
practice?
about a damn scrimmage more than anything I've ever seen in my life, and it means absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what people do. I played golf all weekend. I didn't even think about the scrimmage, and that's
Well, I did
okay.
that too. I didn't even go to the scrimmage, JC.
I mean, what the hell? What? Right? What's going to matter? What
Nobody
matters?
wants to hear my opinion anyway. I've stated what I thought's going to happen.
Well, Buddy Martin will say everybody wants to hear your opinion, QB. You're a journalist now. You're a media member.
Who do I think the quarterback's going to be? And it's not a shot at anybody. It's going to be Aaron Fowler. If he's not, that means Trammell has done unbelievably well.
Amazing things. Yeah. And you can't. Yeah. I think, like Edgar said last week, Edgar Thompson, I agree that both are going to see plenty of playing time in these first 2 weeks, but you're going to see the starter be Aaron Fowler. How's that? Does that sound right? I mean, I do think Trammell's going to play.
It's common sense, right?
Yeah, it's common sense. And you have to play both these guys. If it's 35-0, you better put Trammell Jones in.
Right.
You got to give him reps.
To think about who the starting quarterback's going to be, it would be, okay, let's use this for example. If Lane Kiffin left Ole Miss and went and to LSU, and Trinidad Chambliss showed up. And granted, Trinidad had a hell of a year last year, but who's going to be the quarterback? You don't follow and leave a starting job to go sit on the bench. Now, if you don't play well, you'll go to the bench.
That's right. And that's part of the gig. And that's part of the rules, So,
JC, we're going to kick you to the bench right now.
I'm going to the bench. Okay. Okay. If I go to the bench.
See you on Wednesday.
Okay, sounds good. See you then.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan More hotline. We'll take a quick timeout. Come back. We'll have Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. We'll get his thoughts on what's going on with Denzel Aberdeen. Hear what he heard at the mighty scrimmage on Saturday night. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Landeros Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics, Michael Schneider PLLC, Florida Legends Gala and Experience, Money Metals, Sensei Asian Bistro. Our gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Florida Cracker Oyster, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Brews Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, International Gold and Diamond, Advocare, and MGA Wealth. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook or YouTube. Listen to podcasts wherever, on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, be sure to call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Gainesville's best-kept secret is finally being revealed. Introducing Sensei Asian Bistro. Located in Celebration Point next to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Sensei delivers a one-of-a-kind Japanese-French fusion experience that's as refined as it is unforgettable. Indulge in signature dishes like our smoked New York strip, Chilean sea bass, matcha curry, or the crave-worthy Chunggang chili chicken. Pair it all with handcrafted cocktails, fresh crudo oysters, or our premium A5 Wagyu tataki. Sensei Asian Bistro. Make your reservation today.
When the late, great Charlie Daniels would need a place for jewelry he could trust, he turned to International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange.
Hi, I'm Charlie Daniels, and I live in Tennessee, but when I get ready to do something serious about jewelry or a gift for my wife or somebody, I always get in touch with the folks at International Gold and Diamond Exchange here in Gainesville. There's a lot of reasons for that. One reason is they sell nothing but the best.
Find out what Charlie was talking about for yourself at International Gold, Diamond, and Watch Exchange at 3440 West University Avenue and online at igdwex.com.
What's up, everyone? I'm Mike Pouncey, and this is my twin brother, Marquise Pouncey, and this is Life After Football. Let's go. We are the owners of Tropical Distillery, and J.F. Hayden's is our liqueur brand. We have 5 different flavors: a mango, a lychee, an espresso, citrus, and key lime pie. We pride ourselves on not only being a Florida-made brand, but also a cocktail solution. With that being said, cheers and go Gators.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, plus you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Real estate attorney Michael Schneider, a UF class of 93 graduate, can help you save thousands of dollars in real estate commissions by assisting you selling your home or land, buy, own, or without a broker. Contact Michael today at 321-345-7870. Back to the Titan MR hotline. We're joined by Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing, bud?
Good morning. How are you, Shane?
Good. Let's start out with basketball. We all thought Denzel was going to be suiting up for the Gators, and then now he's not as of today. Tell us what's going on there.
Well, 10th Circuit Court of Appeals granted an NCAA stay in that Wisney versus NCAA case, which originally opened the door for Denzel and all fifth-year, players to be eligible. So I'm sure there'll be another court ruling, or if not, I think Denzel, may appeal in the state courts. He's here, he's on campus, he worked out during the summer, he's enrolled. So I think, this is something that still is going to work itself out, by the time we get around to November. But certainly would be, quite the addition to the backcourt for the Gators, and a big factor in, them probably being ranked preseason number 1. Now, that being said, I've heard Alex Lloyd had a great summer. Isaiah Brown is a guy, as you know, that I'm very high on. I thought he was on the come last year. I thought he showed the second half of last year. Urban Clavshar, obviously, sixth man of the year, could even move into the starting role, and would be quite a volume 3-point shooter. So I think there are a lot of options at the shooting guard spot if it doesn't work out, but I do think that they're going to find a way to get Denzel, eligible in some way. And if that's the case, then he adds that dimension to the backcourt, as I've said before, as a guy that can handle late game situations, which is an area where Florida really struggled last year in those tight games, 1 or 2 possession games where they really needed a basket and needed a play and couldn't come up with one.
All right, let's switch to the scrimmage. What you heard coming out of the scrimmage Saturday night?
Well, much improved effort running the football, offensive line. You saw the video of the Evan Pryor long touchdown. I was also told that Duke Clark ran the ball really well in that scrimmage, and that they're kind of settling in on an offensive line that they really like. As far as Tramel Philo had a very solid scrimmage. Tramel struggled a little bit against the ones, a couple of turnovers, a pick, and a lost fumble. And defensively, on the other side, I mean, I think Brad White was a little disappointed based off the first scrimmage that the front seven didn't play better, but they did force 2 turnovers. Cormani had a pick, apparently, for the second straight scrimmage. So I think that's an encouraging sign. But it's interesting how these things go, Shane, because you've probably been around enough of these camps that usually the defense is ahead of the offense, and then the offense catches up, and that's what it sounds like. Maybe what's happening a little bit in camp right now.
Yeah. Andy's question for you on Facebook Live brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think Evan Pryor has shown enough in camp to get carries during the season as our speed guy?
Yeah, I think he adds that dimension too, right? And you go back to Chris Rainey and Jeff Demps as guys that were very valuable about that. And when Evan talked to us last week, it was kind of funny. He said that I kind of asked him, coming into a situation with Jaden Baugh being the bell cow back, how he felt about that, knowing that carries would be a little harder to come by. And he said, hey, look, I've had some games where I've had 3 carries for 86 yards. He's like that kind of a home run back. In 2024 in Cincinnati, I think he had 4 touchdown runs of 55 or more. So I think that's a good change of pace back. But, if Duke Clark continues to play well, too, it's just going to be interesting to see because, and I know they're going to want to give Baugh the ball a lot, too, that he's going to be kind of a bell cow back. So, I mean, Buster, I think the key is tempo. If you run the offense faster, get more plays, you can keep everyone happy. But it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out in terms of the run game. But I think there's so much versatility there. And we know Jaden Baugh can also catch the ball in the backfield pretty well. Pryor is a good receiver, too. So I think there's a lot of different ways they can use these guys.
Is Pryor, he came from Cincinnati, but he was at Ohio State first?
He started his career at Ohio State.
Okay.
It's kind of funny. Like, when I was in Indiana, he actually played in the game against Ohio State in the fourth quarter. He played for Ohio State in that game as a true freshman. Then he had an injury. He's playing behind Travion Henderson. So I think he realized, the writing was on the wall there. And then he went to Cincinnati and, got a few more carries there over the last 2 years. But he was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school in North Carolina, very highly regarded. So he's a guy that he's got a lot of ability and he's got a lot of speed. So I think another guy that, Buster Faulkner is going to like. You can never have too much speed, right? So I think that certainly will play well in the SEC.
Yeah, I love the running back room. I think Duke Clark's an excellent running back. I love the Pryor kid. I think it's Montgomery, the kid that transferred from East Carolina that started at Penn State. All these dudes can really do different types of things. So the running back room is pretty much
pretty well stacked. Yeah, I think so, but you never know with injuries, right? Last year they lost Jacoby Jackson. They're talking about London Montgomery maybe returning kicks a little bit too, as a guy that they could use on special teams as well. So we'll see how that, plays out.
Yeah, Neo says on YouTube, brought by Quality Plumbing, it's Ball than nobody's basically. That's not true. Duke Clark was extremely highly recruited. Ball, people forget Ball was not highly recruited at all. He's a very good player, though. Kevin, I want to get your thoughts on what's going on. It's nonsense. I mean, it seems like something new each week or maybe every day with guys wanting to be at NFL training camps, and now they're going to go back and play college football. It's the most ridiculous thing. I feel like last week there was something that was the most ridiculous thing you've heard of. Now this comes out. What's your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is it opens up an avenue for money too, right? What was interesting was that soccer upset when Florida beat FSU, and that was quite an upset, certainly for the
Yep.
Gators. Micah Hanlogman was at the game, so like I'm kind of wondering like what's he doing hanging around campus? Is he trying to convince Todd again to get another year of eligibility?
I don't think there's any
But
room for him though.
and that's the thing too, and I think that's the roster rumor. Do you cut a guy or something, or how do you handle that as a coach? They left the spot for Denzel, but I do think it is. It's kind of it's like a rite of passage, but Shane, what it is it's money. But back in the old days, you couldn't go back to college and earn money, earn wages, and I think what's happening in the courts is they're saying, well, you're infringing on this person's right to make a living by going back to college and earning an income that would be greater than if you played in the UFL or played on a practice squad or tried to work your way up. So I think that's what's happening. The money that's come into the game in college football is causing this. This is one of those unintended consequences of NIL from 2021. Is now we're seeing a lot of these kids flocking back to school. When 20 years ago they couldn't wait to leave to make a living in the pros. Now they're coming back and trying to make a living. It's become a career.
Well, because majority of them aren't going to meet, they're not going to make the team.
Yeah.
And so they know they got guaranteed money in college. And it's crazy. Gallo
And it's taken away spots from high school athletes too, which is
Gallo
unfortunate.
Car Wash, locally owned by UF alum and the only car wash that provides NIL opportunities to Gator athletes. Locations on Northwest 13th Street, Wilson Road, and now open in Jonesville next to Tioga. All right, so we're less than 2 weeks away. Games start next week. Obviously we got to watch the Gators play, but right now, how do you feel about where the team stands? And obviously you're not at practice. It's hard to. I just want to get your gauge as a media guy.
Well, I'm curious to see, is that toughness mantra, is it wearing off? There was someone else I talked to about the scrimmage, and he was talking about it a little bit. And he still said, I got a little ways to go there. So it's kind of like, the physicality, and I know they transform the bodies in the offseason, but I'll be curious to see how that gets put into practice. Now, first two games are going to be facing teams that they're going to be, physically dominant, obviously smaller teams, but when they get into, obviously SEC play, Auburn, Ole Miss, are they going to have that toughness and that physicality that's required, line of scrimmage wise to stay in that game? And I think those are things that I'm curious about. And the quarterback competition will be interested to see how it plays out. I think it's kind of veering towards Philo at this point, but you never know. It's the thing where they've talked a lot about stacking days, and which quarterback stacks the most days is going to be the one that gets the job. So certainly it was, I think, up and down for Aaron and camp. It was probably up and down for Tramel and camp, but they're going to come to a decision and probably ride with that and then see who can lead them certainly through this early September stretch. And getting off to a good start is so critical. Like I said, Billy Napier, right, never started 2-0, and I mean, you got to think you're going to start 2-0 this year. I mean, and that being said, you don't want to go 2-2. You want to go 3-1. You want to find a way to either beat Auburn or beat Ole Miss at Swamp and create some momentum heading into October.
I'm going to ask you this because I've asked a couple of friends of mine, because I'm one who is experience great to have. Yeah, if you're executing and you're playing at a high level. There's plenty of people that have experience but just ain't very good and don't produce. So let's talk about quarterbacks. Obviously Philo's played a little bit. He played really well, I think, against your team, Miami, 2 years ago. Tramel's had a few series here and there last year. Would you, or do you think the national media would think differently about Florida from an offensive standpoint if DJ Lagway was the starting quarterback?
Yeah, I think so, but
Why?
but I do think too, you just never know, because people were high on DJ Lagway last year, but we had heard rumblings about his health, and he didn't come into the season right and 100%, and it all fell apart. So I think it's going to depend on, can Buster make Aaron Philo a better quarterback based on his track record, or can he make Tramel Jones a better quarterback if something happens to Aaron? I think it's a lot more going to be on that, and the investment was on that, on the coordinators. Can these two coordinators, make the offense and defense better? And the players, I think, will factor into that. But I think that you're bringing in guys, obviously, certainly on both sides of the ball, that are familiar with schemes. You're bringing in Philo from Georgia Tech, you're bringing in Luke Harpering, Harrison Moore, Bailey Stockton, and you're also bringing in on the defensive side, Cam Dooley, guys that work with Brad White. So I think that's going to be interesting to see too, how that's going to carry over and translate.
I saw a clip from, I don't know if it was a college coach or a high school coach or somebody the other day on Twitter, and it was one of the coolest comments I've ever heard. It may have been, it was a college coach, but it's the quarterback coach, and I don't even know who it was. He's, going through individuals and they're throwing and stuff, and he asked his quarterbacks, "Can you be my guy? Can you, everybody that plays at the collegiate level can throw the football, but can you play quarterback? That's a difference." And that's the thing I think about the two guys battling this year. They know how to play quarterback from what I've seen.
Yeah,
I don't give a damn. I talk about it all the time. Those measurables don't matter. Do they help? Yes. If you know how to play quarterback. If we've seen them here at our university in the last 8 years that have all the measurables, they can't play quarterback. You can't teach that. I think these two guys can play quarterback, and that's the most important thing.
Well, yeah, you go back to Kyle Trask, right? And
He's the last guy we had that could play quarterback. I thought Graham Mertz could play quarterback.
Yeah. And I agree. And I think Graham, had his limitations, though, that were kind of proven out, as the season went on, and unfortunately couldn't stay healthy his senior year here. But he was a guy that was incredibly accurate, incredibly smart, got the ball where it needed to go, was good on short and intermediate routes. I just wonder sometimes, though, if you don't have the deep arm, if defenses kind of figure you out a little bit.
But here's the thing is, I've told this multiple times talking about Mertz. He had a stronger arm than I ever had, Danny ever had. I just don't think we used him correctly. When you throw a deep ball, I've been saying it for years. You got to throw 3 to 4 deep balls per quarter, because you're not going to hit a ball. If you hit one, it's a damn good. You've had a pretty good first quarter. So anyway, I want guys that know how to play quarterback. And I think these two with Buster Faulkner, who, again, I do not understand why anybody is going to question who Buster Faulkner says is his trigger man, when his offense was really good last year and he was voted the top offensive coordinator in America, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think too, the one thing, we did see in, at least the first scrimmage, is he's going to take shots. He's going to take chances downfield, which is, I think, something that's, music to the ears of Gator fans. Now, like, can the offensive line hold up when you take those shots? I mean, that's going to be a question also. But here, based on what I heard from the second scrimmage, they did look much improved. So I think that's, something too that, is going to be interesting to see, is, are they going to have to play quick game because they're not 100% sold on, the offensive line and pass protection. But if they are, they'll take shots, and I think Florida fans will like that, right? They're going to like seeing the ball go downfield a little bit. And I think that, but Buster's an air raid guy, and he's gonna take chances. And if there's a pick downfield every once in a while, so be it. I mean,
don't care.
some of
They're
those
come
are
back throwing it more. Trust me.
some of those are like punts, but I mean, you just don't want it to be something that's short or intermediate, but John Summerall's a defensive guy too, so that's gonna be an interesting balancing act too, because I know there'll probably be times too when they're gonna want to protect the lead and grind it too. But I think Buster will take some shots, and I think Florida fans will enjoy that.
I saw a stat, and I could be 100% wrong here because I don't remember it exactly, but yards per attempt. Georgia Tech was like 8.9 yards per attempt, which is pretty damn good. I don't remember where that ranked. I think it's in the top 20 in America. So, or maybe it was John Sumrall's team that he's coached the last few years. Yards per attempt is 8.9. So, I think they're going to throw it a lot, and I think they're going to. I think they're going to throw it more than the average person thinks because of Jaden Ball. But the way Buster thinks, he thinks a lot like Coach Spurrier. Let's open it up, and then we'll pound you late. And I think that's what you're going to see. What else, Kevin? Anything else going on? You writing about anything that people can go to the website and check out?
Well, I had to think today about the, I went to the Legends, the card show yesterday, and I got a chance to talk to at least two of the three Eisner winners. Tim Tebow did not make himself available, apparently, was not in his contract to speak. So, but Danny and Steve, I got their opinions on the whole, jersey fiasco with the Heisman, the Jane Daniels stuff and everything, and they're both okay with their jersey numbers still being in circulation. As a matter of fact, Spurrier told the story about how he unretired it for Ben Hanks, but he checked with Scott Brantley first because it was also retired for Scott Brantley, number 11. And it's I think that's good because listen, there are only so many jersey numbers, right? And you're talking about with walk-ons 105, or now it's grandfathered 116. If you take certain numbers out of circulations, you're just gonna run out of numbers, right?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of jersey retirements. Honor the number, but don't retire it because people are attached to numbers. I would like for you next time, and I don't know if y'all ever get Ben Hanks at the podium. I'm curious why he doesn't wear 11. He wears 12.
Yep. It might be a plus one thing. Maybe it's like, some people do that. Yeah, it's very interesting. I did a story on Jaden Woods, like why he changed to 0, and he said it was a homage to his father, telling him to stay even in life. And it's interesting, the different reasons why players choose certain. But hey, look, Jaden Woods ditched Tebow's number for number 0 to play on defense. So that's interesting. His father played at Kansas State under James Franklin, of all people, when he was the offensive coordinator there back in 2007. That's why Jaden Woods almost went to Penn State, but then, on 11th hour decision, decided to change his commitment to Florida, and I think that's turned out to be pretty good for the Gators in terms of getting a guy that's a pretty good edge rusher.
Large Fry says here that he thinks Hanks wore 12 because it was his grandfather's number or something like that. So. Anyway, Kevin, good stuff as always, my friend. Man.
All right, Shane, thank you.
That's Kevin Brockway from the Gainesville Sun. Join us on the Titan More Hotline. Injuries occur whenever and however, and it's never convenient for sprains, strains, and minor fractures. UF Health Orthocare makes it convenient for you 7 days a week, including evenings. Swing on by UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Thanks for everybody joining in today. We're getting closer and closer. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Take care.